What's up, you guys? Nick here, and for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you learned this morning that I'm no longer with Gymshark. No hard feelings. I love the company, love the people. I just felt that at this time, I need to head in a different direction. I'll explain what I mean later, but all of this got me thinking, wow, I've been sponsored by 3 really incredible companies over my life. First, it was Nike, then it was Brooks Running, then Gymshark. You know, how fortunate have I been to be sponsored by these companies? And on this channel, I always try to provide kind of a behind the scenes look at what it's like to be a pro athlete or to be a sponsored athlete. And I wanted to tell you guys why I chose to partner with each of those companies and also the pros and cons of being sponsored by those companies. Now, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but being sponsored by Nike is very different than being sponsored by Brooks Running, is very different than being sponsored by Gymshark. Without further delay, here is what it's really like being a sponsored athlete. Now, in 2006, I had just graduated from Willamette University, and I was shopping, we call it shopping it around. I knew I wanted to run pro. I just finished second at the US Championships after graduating. I was number 2 in the entire United States, so I actually had quite a few offers coming my way. But 22 years old, you know, about to move to Eugene, Oregon, of course, there's only one company I was gonna run for. It's Nike. And I signed, at the time, just a 2-year deal, but would go on to run for Nike for 8 years. And at that time in my life, I really wanted to be sponsored by one of the biggest companies in the world because I knew that there's a lot of power that comes with that. You know, perhaps they could help me get into bigger meets, or perhaps they'd throw more resources at me. And that's exactly what they did. When I moved to Eugene in 2006, I was sponsored by the Nike Oregon Track Club Elite. So I got coaching, I got gear, I got travel, I got everything that I needed to be able to train professionally so that I could put all of my time and energy into making my first Olympic team. And that's of course what I did. I then signed another 4-year deal with Nike to train through 2012. They had an option year on me at the end of that contract, so I trained through 2013, where I won my world silver medal. But the time came where I was, you know, not at the end of my career, but certainly recognizing that the final contract of my pro career was about to be signed. And at that time, I wanted to run for a company that was going to guarantee my contract. So with Nike, one of the pros is that they have all those resources, right? Huge company, lots of resources. Maybe one con is that Nike, and this, I'm not talking about my contract specifically, but all Nike contracts, as far as I'm aware, have what are called reduction clauses. And you know, if an athlete doesn't perform to a certain standard, your contract gets reduced. Now that's a lot of pressure. I responded to that pressure and was able to run really well, but some athletes don't respond well to that pressure. And as I was entering my 30s, I recognized that injuries might be more common. If I could get a contract that didn't have reduction clauses, that was gonna be really, really critical towards me performing to the best of my abilities. And so I actually signed a contract, a 4-year deal with Brooks Running, and I was so happy to be with a company that really appreciates their athletes and wants them to have the peace of mind to be able to train without worrying about reduction. So I did not have a reduction clauses in that contract. I went on to win my 6th outdoor title for Brooks Running, popping that big logo in front of the cameras. I loved my time at Brooks. I loved the people, I loved the shoes. So if there were any drawbacks of running with Brooks, and there weren't many, I felt like sometimes maybe they were outgunned, meaning they were outspent. Now, Brooks is still a huge company, but when you're going up against Nike, when you're going up against, Adidas of the world, like they were outspent in a lot of times. And, I made a big stink about this while I was with Brooks, but it was really messed up that the USATF contract for what USATF team members wear, they're in bed with Nike. They're under contract with Nike. So even though I was living and training in Brooks and Brooks was, supporting me financially, when I made a US team, I had to go wear the Nike uniform. Like that's an example where being with Brooks was at times, I wouldn't say disadvantageous, but for me, it was difficult at times, and it is difficult for a lot of other athletes. Before I transitioned to what it was like being sponsored by Gymshark, I should add that pro runners do not work for the company that sponsors them, right? I never worked for Nike. I never worked for Brooks. I worked with them as an independent contractor. A lot of people don't know that, but sponsored athletes, there's a line in your contract that says you are not an employee. You are not entitled to the benefits of an employee. You are an independent contractor. And I always viewed that as a positive because there's a lot of benefits that go into, or a lot of positives that go into being an independent contractor. That's for a whole nother video. I'm talking about what it's like being sponsored by these companies. And after I retired from pro running in 2017, I thought my days as a sponsored athlete were over, But you know, along came 2020 and I built up this nice following on YouTube. We were averaging, you know, millions of views a month, and there's some value there. And of course, the direct-to-consumer company Gymshark, who loves to partner with content creators, called me up and said, Nick, we want to work with you. I was partnered with Gymshark for the last 2 years, and I loved working with Gymshark. Really incredible people doing really incredible things. This idea that they're gonna do direct consumer apparel where you're not gonna walk into a Nike store, you're not gonna walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods, you're only gonna be able to get their apparel from their website. I thought this was so smart, so revolutionary, and they were also gonna use content creators, influencers, to drive traffic to their website. This is where I was at in my life. And to, you know, I actually made a video, I think I called it, I'm a professional athlete again, kind of tongue in cheek, that I was now a content creator, you know, in the fitness space, but I felt like once again, I was a pro athlete. I was being paid to be fit. And I love that. There's nothing better than that. But you know, I said this on Instagram, all great things must come to an end. And as much as I loved working with Gymshark, I recognize that where I'm going and where my team is going, like this team's getting big. You know Dolphin, you know Ryan, you know Trevor, you know, we're expanding very quickly. We need to expand with a company where we see more growth potential. So I am here to say that I have signed a deal with another apparel company. I'm not gonna mention it in this video because we made a video over on my main YouTube channel, Nick Simmons. I will link that channel right here. I went head to head against Captain Tom in 10 events. That's right, we did an entire decathlon. That video drops 10 a.m. on Saturday. So not only are you gonna get to see Captain Tom and me go head to head in an entire scored decathlon, you're also gonna get to find out who I've partnered with in this new contract. Now, here's a little hint. I'm wearing their apparel right now. Do you know who it is? I'm not gonna give away the surprise just yet, but let me know in the comments below who you think I've decided to partner with. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you're subscribed over on my other channel, Nick Simmons. This deca, guys, is insane. And I had a surprise guest in this video who may or may not have 2 Olympic gold medals in the decathlon. Stay tuned for that. I love you guys for supporting me. See you next week. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. It is Tuesday, and you guys know that every single Tuesday, I give away a free pair of running shoes to one of my followers. I've partnered with Running Warehouse to be able to do this every week throughout the rest of 2022. Chosen at random, this week it is Ruby Wiles. Looks like she's a runner out of Tennessee. Ruby, congratulations. You just won a new pair of shoes. I'll DM you right now to get them sent your way. If you guys want to win a free pair of shoes, it's super simple. Just follow me over on Instagram at Nick Simmons. I choose a new winner on this channel every single week, so I hope you're subscribed. See you soon.